Hello, and welcome to Emotional Response. We are running to the emergency for various things that ail our body or traumas, and now we're running to ER to get emotional and mental emergencies dealt with on the psychological realm, on the emotional realm. And we're growing. I'm growing, you're growing, and we're growing into be better people in our relationships and our relationship with ourselves and our careers. Hey, this is Ive again, joining you to continue the Back to School series. I did part 1 and 2, and now I'm covering part 3. Part 3 will be covering gaming. Video games on our phones, video games on PS4s, PS2s, PS3s, video gaming. That is $1 billion industry, and that our kids are locked and loaded in for extensive hours. And so I want to talk about gaming. Not because it's a bad thing, because it's not a bad thing. I played games. I played Atari. I played Nintendo. Burger Time. I know people remember that. Super Mario Brothers. Atari. Tron. I played Centipede. It was another game that I played on there that I was locked and loaded in and did not stop playing for hours. And it was good. You would play till your fingers get cramped or burning, one or the other, or the joystick will overheat, or the box will overheat. That's how serious we were in gaming. And we can't take away the funness of gaming, because a lot of us underneath my voice grew up on gaming and the benefits of gaming. Gaming is a outlet. Gaming is a way to socially connect with other people, whether it's in your house and you're competing, or now it's so advanced you can compete online with people that you never seen, that are all the way on the other side of the world. Gaming. I wanted to include it in the Back to School series mainly because our kids are into this gaming world. And some people, semi-young adults are into it too, to a default. And that's why you have incidents in Massachusetts where the guy, shot up, the tournament after losing. I know some people heard of it, some people didn't, but you can Google it and find out the details around it. So, when it relates to gaming, I want to talk about the psychological aspect of it. Gaming is an outlet. When we think of games, we think of fun. I'm going to log on. I'm going to press the on button. I'm going to tune in to get away from whatever else I'm doing. And it's not necessarily to get away from life, but to just have fun. And anything in excess is dangerous. Anything. You got to be mindful of it. You got to monitor it. And when it comes to gaming, the psychological aspect about it you need to have a conversation with your child. Not just on many levels, okay? First, you want to have a conversation with them so that they understand, gaming, why you purchasing a game, and when it's used, the hours it's used, when it's time to get off the game, and the reason why. And you don't want to label it as demonic, because gaming is not demonic. Can bad things happen over extensive time of using games? Sure. But it depends on the person, their support system, and so many other variables. It's just like looking at a violent movie. Can a violent movie propel people into doing violent things? It could be the icing on the cake from a lot of other variables playing in action in their life. And then on top of that, they watch that, and then it almost solidifies everything that they was thinking. How can I say big words like solidify and mumble over the word thinking? But you know what I'm saying. I'm very candid, very open, even with my mistakes and errors. But it's just funny to me how the mind and the world and your mouth works. So talk to them about it. If they understand it, and if you are clear on the reason why they're gaming. Because there have been times through studies and through history that people resort to gaming to avoid what's going on in reality. And with little kids, you don't know everything that goes on in school unless you're volunteering or being a class parent ambassador. So you're not sure what in full scope is going on in school, and so they could use it as an outlet to try to control what they can't control in real life. And so I might not be able to control the bully that's going on in school or people socially accepting me, but I can log on and get a crew of people that accepted me, and I could use instruments and tools and techniques to break down people on the game, whereas so I can't do it in real life. And you need to have these conversations, because it could turn something innocent into something horrible by not having a conversation. And then number 2, you want to have the conversation about gaming because of the levels of maturity. Now you have games that are rated MA, for mature audience only. So you have your 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 11-year-old playing a game that's suitable for teenagers and up. And some of these games dive into very explicit scenes, and you need to be aware of that. GTA is a fun game. However, to a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, they they won't be able to handle the scenes where the player goes and pick a hooker and does sexual performances with this hooker. It's not insinuated, it is explicitly shown. And a lot of other games are too. So you need to be very, very mindful of what you put in your child's hand. Oh, it's just a game, it's not that deep. But you can't control how deep it goes in their thought process. Right there, initially, they just playing the game and they're fine. But along the way, when they go to school, they transfer, okay, two people going into a room or going into a closet, that means X, Y, and Z supposed to occur because it occurred on the game. These things you need to be conscious of. Some of these games outside of GTA, because GTA is a very explicit game, some of these games that are on a shelf are so explicit they would make an adult blush. And you need to be aware of that. Oh, it's just a fighting game. Make sure that along the scenes that they're showing, that it's just straight fighting. Because there's sliding sex scenes in there. And the sex scenes are a bit explicit. I can't imagine as a little child me looking at a video game and it doing sexual performances. And so you're responsible for that. You're responsible to sometimes take the initiative and cut out 15, 20 minutes out of your time and sit down and see what your child or daughter, your son or daughter is playing. Dig in. Dig into their world. Not to necessarily cut it off, but so you can gauge if it's appropriate for them, number one. How many hours they should be on it, number two. And if it's triggering other things. It's not the game that necessarily makes someone violent. It could solidify certain violent thoughts that the person already been thinking, and then they see it and then they say, oh, okay, that can be performed. And so they transfer it over into the real world. And you can't control that. So you got to be mindful. Very mindful. Gaming is good. I think as a family activity, you need to sit down and play the game sometime with your kids. Play games. See what's on their phone. See what's on their PS4. And be engaged. And then not only that, because some of these games are connected to the internet and you can meet people all over, you want to make sure that they're not being connected to pedophiles. People that intend to harm them. Because some of these games people get so connected to that they agree to meet the person. You need to be invested. Invested in your child's activities. So much so that you are privy of the conversations and where they're going way before they even discuss them with you. So, gaming is a part of back to school. Because you also want to make sure that your kid is not resorting to a game over connecting with people socially. Instead of going out in the front yard or the backyard and playing, you want to make sure that they don't substitute that. It's one of the activities that you can do, but it's not a substitute for connecting with real people. You don't want them to be socially dwarfed because they're behind a game nonstop. Some people are so locked into gaming that when it comes time for them to relate to the real world, even the simplest thing from how you doing, they don't know how to respond because this is a world that they run away from. And so during this back to school episode,